Welcome to another episode of Markets Dawn Europe, an audio podcast on financial markets for European-based professionals. A minimalistic solution to the information overload in mainstream and social media. This is what you need to know today.
Morning. Hurricane Milton, forecasted as the most destructive in a century, made landfall as a Category 3 near Tampa, on the west coast of Florida last night, and is now traveling across the state towards the Atlantic as a Category 2. Developed equities traded firmer yesterday, with Wall Street indices advancing spot 7%, and the S&P 500 reaching a fresh record high, ahead of today's inflation report, and tomorrow's bank earnings releases. Both the S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite accumulated a 21% year-to-date rally, compared to a 9% gain by the Stoxx 600 in local currency terms. One notable mover in Europe was Bayer, with a 7% drop, after a US court agreed to review a case related to Monsanto's toxic chemical PCB. Markets in China remain highly volatile, with the CSI 300 Blue Chip Index plunging 7% on Wednesday, driven by unconvinced traders regarding the government's stimulus measures, as the monetary announcement was not complemented with a fiscal plan. Beijing officials are expected to issue an update on Saturday. Today, mainland and Hong Kong benchmarks are recovering approximately 4%. The Fed's minutes from its September meeting showed that a substantial majority of voters favored the 50 basis point rate cut to begin easing monetary policy, but made it clear it did not mean that future cuts should be the same size. The dollar index advanced almost 0.5%, and benchmark yields were little changed yesterday. In economic news, Berlin is predicting another year of negative growth, leading to the first two-year recession in more than 2 decades. Germany's main challenges for growth have been inflation, high energy costs, a shortage of skilled workers, and excessive red tape. Still, the DAX is one of the best performing indices in Europe this year, with a 15% gain. In business news, the US government said it may request a judge to force Google to divest parts of its businesses, including the Chrome browser and mobile operating system Android, which the government claims are used to maintain an illegal monopoly in online search. In corporate deals, Canada's alimentation Couche-Tard has improved its takeover bid for Japanese retail giant 7&I Holdings by 22% to a total of $47 billion. In the mining sector, Anglo-Australian group Rio Tinto is buying Arcadium Lithium of the US for $6.7 billion in cash to become the world's third-largest lithium producer. Arcadium shares rallied 31% yesterday. The German state is planning the sale of 20 to 30% of its 99% stake in bailed-out utility, Uniper, for the first half of 2025. In IPOs, KinderCare Learning Companies, a U.S. childcare services company, backed by Partners Group, was listed on the NYSE at a $3.1 billion valuation. It raised $576 million and shares gained 9% on their debut. Also, Spanish frozen pastry company Europastry, which was due to begin trading in Madrid today, postponed its debut for the second time in 4 months, citing global geopolitical risks and unstable markets. In credit ratings, Moody's downgraded Israeli banks by 1 notch to BBB+. Israel's central bank left its policy rate unchanged as expected, at 4.5%. There were no significant corporate bond issues yesterday, but in the sovereign space, the Republic of Ghana raised $7 billion in 5- and 7-year bonds rated CA. In data today, US CPI inflation and weekly jobless claims. Retail inflation in Ireland, Portugal, Greece, Denmark and Norway. Thanks for your time, see you tomorrow.
Visit laconicbriefs.com to subscribe to our newsletter, including this audio podcast with an extended script if you prefer to read, plus performance tables and charts, all in one place. Delivered straight to your inbox every morning, Monday to Friday.